A man opened fire on Republican lawmakers practicing for a charity baseball game.
We witnessed the deadliest mass shooting in our history.
Deadly siege at a Planned Parenthood clinic in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
James T. Hodgkinson, Omar Mateen, Robert Louis Dear. 3 different men, 3 different motivations. One thing in common: a history of domestic abuse.
Mass shooters do possess a number of traits in common. They're overwhelmingly male. They tend to be young adults. They tend to be disaffected in many ways. The majority of mass shooters in America also behaved in abusive ways with respect to their spouses or intimate partners or other close family members.
Stephen Paddock, the Las Vegas shooter, has confounded law enforcement because he displays none of those traditional markers, except for perhaps one. The LA Times has reported Paddock was often verbally abusive to his girlfriend in public. The prevailing notion in this country is that terrorists are religiously motivated and from other countries. But in point of actual fact, exposure to or perpetuation of domestic violence is a far stronger predictor, and that violence is most often expressed as gendered patriarchal violence against women.
They do tend to have these notions of a woman's traditional place. They tend to be rankled by women who speak out, by women who argue with them. These are people who want to exercise control over women.
Hodgkinson was arrested in 2006 for domestic battery and discharge of a firearm. He was accused of choking his foster daughter and punching her friend Amy in the face. Satora Yousefi, Omar Mateen's ex-wife, accused Mateen of confiscating her paychecks, forbidding her from leaving her house, and beating her repeatedly.
He would get mad out of nowhere. That's when I started worrying about my safety, and then after a few months he started abusing me.
At least 2 of Robert Louis Dear's ex-wives accused him of physical abuse, and in 1992, he was arrested and accused of sexual violence and rape. Dylan Roof, who shot up a black church in Charleston, South Carolina, his father physically and emotionally abused his stepmother. Roof also used language of patriarchal, gendered control during the shooting. Sung Hee Cho, the Virginia Tech killer responsible for the deaths of 32 and injuring of 17 others, he had been previously investigated for stalking 2 female classmates. According to some research, more mass shootings involve an element of domestic violence than don't. Everytown for Gun Safety is a gun control advocacy group. It performed an exhaustive study of mass shootings from 2009 through 2016. In that 8-year period, there were 156 mass shootings. 54% of those incidents were related to domestic or family violence.
Mass shootings are correlated with domestic violence. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean, and it would be a mistake to say, that if you committed an act of domestic violence or partner violence, that you therefore are going to become a mass shooter, because obviously the overwhelmingly large number of people who do commit domestic violence are not going out and also committing mass shootings. But there clearly is something at play here that gets to a bundle of factors of attitudes, beliefs, and personal relationships. There is already considerable evidence to show that there is an important link here between domestic violence and mass shootings.